Okay, let's take a look at how this works, and then I'll perform a more challenging example at the end. For the rest of this video, we'll enable CLOCKstep's metronome, which sends MIDI notes out to any synth so you can monitor an audible click. All the metronome configuration options will be a topic for another video. Though CLOCKstep is sending MIDI clock to the timeline only uses it for setting its delay time value. The timeline looper itself doesn't sync to a MIDI clock, or recognize MIDI real-time start or stop commands. The timeline does specify its own MIDI commands for record, play, and stop. We'll add those commands to CLOCKstep and send them instead. We can store and name each new MIDI command as a user MIDI setting in CLOCKstep. This only needs to be done once. User MIDI becomes reusable throughout all presets. Here I'm entering Timeline's MIDI note value for the record function, which is a note value of 0, and the velocity has to be anything greater than 0. I'll name the user MIDI setting TL Record to make it easier to find later. The play and stop commands have been entered in the same way as user MIDI number 2 and 3 respectively. Up to 8 user MIDI commands can be assigned to various trigger types or actions in each preset. We want the user foot switch to perform the record command when it's pressed. We can have that happen immediately when it's pressed, or it can be queued to the beginning of a bar. We'll map the play command to the transport start action. And the stop command to the transport stop action. After saving and loading the preset, now we're ready to record, play, and stop. I'll finish up with an example that uses a 7/4 time signature in a triplet feel. Selecting a different feel and time signature is an important part of CLOCKstep. One last thing, since neither CLOCKstep or Timeline are sharing a clock technically, they will drift apart eventually. You can always step on the Timeline play switch to bring them back together again while they're playing.